Okay guys, so for this week's homework I'm gonna make a quick review on how you can use Fusion 360. So we'll start, and this shouldn't take more than 15 minutes. Okay, so first of all, this is the main screen that will appear on you whenever you open Autodesk. It should eventually appear as education license on top of this place, and well, I'm just gonna go briefly through this workspace. So here, if you click in the data panel, it will show you your previous designs, okay, and you can close it anytime. This area, well, you can start new designs and stuff. You can save your own, so we'll start by saving it, and we'll just say like let's say Tarea 1, okay, and this is the location you'll save it, which is the location for the cloud, for your cloud account, okay, and then you click save, and here it is. Now you'll see all this tool panel here, and also this one. If you click where it says model, it will appear the different workspaces you can have: a model, sheet metal, the render, the animation, simulation, etc. So we'll start by choosing model, which is the default mode, and here you'll find the browser, which you can close whenever you need, and you'll see here like the document settings. We're working with millimeters, some named views, and in this case the origin, which we really don't need to see right now. Everything starts basically going from left to right, so you normally start with this area in the sketch, then you create the 3D models, then you can modify them, assemble them, etc. Okay, so normally the workflow goes from left to right. Okay, in this case we'll start with this part regarding the sketch, and also, well, here, down here, it will appear a timeline. We'll work through it eventually, and here are just the different tools for viewing your design, as well as this cube, the view cube. Okay, so let's start sketch with create sketch. Right, the three different areas, the work areas will appear, the different coordinates. So in this case we'll start, you can pick anyone. I'll just pick this one here, and our new screen will appear. Okay, so here we have the sketch palette, which we can also minimize and maximize again, and we have different options here. Okay, we don't need to, well, you can take your time and go through all of them, but right now we're working in the sketch environment, and the first thing we'll do is choose line. Okay, as you can see, line has an L, trim has a T, for example, circle has a C, and these are the shortcuts. So if I just click those letters in my keyboard, it will be easier. So for example, right now there's nothing selected. Okay, I have no tool, and if I click L in my keyboard, now I have the line tool selected. Okay, so I'll start here with the origin. I'm just gonna click and then drag so I can create this line. Now I'm doing a horizontal line. Don't worry about the measurements right now, so I'll just draw a horizontal line, and then I can keep moving either horizontally again, or in this case vertically, and I can define the angles. So I'll just go vertically a little bit, and well, the tool is still selected, right? So if I click it and keep clicking on it, right, while I'm moving it, I can create some sort of arc. Okay, so I'll create a small arc here, and then leave it again, and if I keep clicking and go in the other direction, I'll create a different arc. Okay, so we're just working with some arcs and some lines. If with my mouse I scroll backwards or upwards, I can zoom in or out. So I'm just gonna fix it a little bit here, and let's say I'm just gonna end with a vertical line here, then a horizontal one, and let me just show you. If you go all the way to your origin and you drag it up again, you'll see that blue dotted line. That makes me know where I'm finishing my design. Okay, so I'll just drop it all the way there, click it, and I'll go down again to finalize my design. Okay, so as you can see, this is a closed curve. Whenever you close the complete curve, it will be highlighted in this sort of pink color. Okay, if you click any of these, for example, and you keep clicking it, you can drag it, change a little bit the dimensions, maybe this one you like it more like that. Even this, if you move it, so you can move along and just pretty much change your design. Right now we're not working with any sort of measurements, but we'll define the measurements in a couple of minutes. Okay, so let's say we have this, which as you can see looks like a silhouette similar to the grinders we've seen, and what we're going to do is revolve this silhouette. Okay, so remember we were talking about your designs that should be about, they should have an internal volume of about 100 cubic centimeters, and we decided that the radius, the inner radius for that tube should be about 2 centimeters. Okay, so I'll just draw again a line here about 2 centimeters, or in this case 20 millimeters, so I can just write it down. As you can see here, I'll just I haven't clicked the line yet, so it's just a horizontal line, and I click 20 and then enter, and that makes that creates a 20 millimeter or 2 centimeter line. Okay, so far so good. If I want to change, for example, the height of this whole part here, I can click in sketch dimension, or just click the D from directly from my keyboard. So I click D, I select whatever line I want, and this will give me the dimension it has right now. If I want to make this higher, for example 100 millimeters, I just click it and then it changed. Okay, so it changed already. I click escape, and maybe I do want to keep changing this a little bit more, maybe something like that. Okay, so now that I know this is 100 millimeters and 20 millimeters, I'm okay with this design, and I can click stop sketch. All right, so I have the sketch already here, and what I'm going to do from the sketch palette, I move on to the create palette. Okay, so I click in the drop down menu, and what I'm going to do is revolve. Okay, so if you don't know what each tool does, just leave the mouse there for a few seconds, and there's going to be a small a brief explanation on each tool. Okay, so here in revolve, we want to revolve the sketch profile around a selected axis. Okay, so I'll click this one, and what happens is I need to choose my profile, which in this case is this one, and I need to choose an axis. Okay, a rotation axis. I don't have the axis here, right? As you can see, there's no axis, but I can click this one. I mean, I didn't draw an axis, but I know I want to revolve through this set axis, right? So if I click this one, everything just revolves. Okay, but this is not the way I want to revolve it, because in this case it will create a solid surface, right? So I can click cancel, and I can go back and edit this sketch to create a small axis, which is something that is needed. So I go here to where it says sketches, I click the drop down menu, select this sketch, right click, and then edit sketch. Okay, now I go back and I can edit this sketch, and the only thing that I needed was to create a line that goes from this place all the way up. Okay, it doesn't need to be as high as that, it just needs to be at 90 degrees. Okay, so I'll just make a small line, maybe, I don't know, 30 millimeters, doesn't matter, and I click stop sketch, and that's it. Now I have the axis of revolution. I go back to create, revolve, select my profile, I'll just click the profile here, then to select the axis I click here until it's blue, and then I go to the sketch and select the axis, and now you see the difference, right? In this case, now we have created the hollow shape. Okay, so obviously this is not as fancy or as nice as you might expect, but it's just a quick overview of what you should be doing. Okay, here's we want to rotate it 360-degree angle. If here I would put like 60-degree angle, it's just going to be an incomplete revolution. Okay, 360, and I'm creating a new body. Okay, I'll click OK, and there we go. Now besides the sketches menu here, I already have a body menu, which makes me see this body here. So if I select it, it will turn blue, and if, for example, I click on the light bulb here, it will temporarily disappear. Okay, so be sure that you have your light bulbs on so you can see the bodies that you're working with. Okay, Right, so far so good. We can click save so we don't lose all these parts, and then just click OK. Now, let's keep moving. So, so far we've been using sketches and revolution, right? We'll go and do something even simpler, right? So a new sketch, we click here and create sketch. Again, we're prompted to select a working face. So I'll click in this case, this one here. As you can see, I have now like a top view, and I'll create a rectangle, okay? By going here, sketch, and then all the way to rectangle, right? 2-point rectangle, and I'll just create a rectangle that encases this part here. So I'll just make it big enough, let's say about something like that. Okay, I'm not concerned about the measurements, but if you would like, let's say 250, and then I click tab to get the width, and let's say 320. Okay, and then we click enter, and that's it, and we stop the sketch. So far we have one body and one sketch. Okay, if here I prompt to for the sketches to disappear, they will disappear. Okay, so let's just keep this one moving, and we'll use a different tool which is called extrude. Okay, so extrude basically adds depth. It says here, sorry, adds depth to a closed sketch profile. Okay, it needs to be a closed one. So I click extrude, I select my profile, which is this one, click until it's blue, and then I can drag the mouse if I like, or just put whatever measurement I want. Let's say in this case it's gonna be really thin, 10 millimeters. Okay, enter. That's it. So far so good. Now we're gonna create a new sketch on top of this one, but maybe now that I'm looking at it, I'm not really satisfied on the depth of this sheet. So I can click down here in the timeline, right? I right click it and put edit feature, right? So it will take me back to the tool, back to this place where I was creating the extrusion, and maybe I do want it to be a bit bigger, about 30 millimeters. Okay, and I click I need to be able to have it here as a new body, and then I click OK. So I have now two bodies, body 1 and body 2. Okay, if I select any of their light bulbs, they will disappear. All right, so far so good. Now I'm gonna create some space for this part to go on top of this one. All right, now we create a new sketch, so we select create sketch, and now instead of choosing these three planar surfaces, I can click wherever I want. So I could create a sketch on top of this place, or in my case I want to create a sketch on this face, okay, on the top face of my newly created let's say square box. So I click it here. Now I'm working on this area, and what I want to create is two things. One, it's a circle, so I go here, circle. There are different choices for the circles. I'll just go for center diameter. Okay, then I choose any point. I'll just put it wherever I want, let's say here. Okay, I just first click and then drag. Okay, so again, if I click escape and I put C as for circle, I have here the circle tool. I can see it in the mouse. I just click and then just one click and then drag. Okay, I don't need to be to have the mouse clicked all the time. So one click, I lift my finger up, and then I can drag the circle. Okay, I'll just put whatever circle, and then we'll change the dimensions. Okay, so it's let's say 120 point something. Click OK, and that's it. And now I'm going to create a rectangle. Remember, for rectangle I can just click R on my keyboard. If I click R, now I have a rectangle, or I can go here and go for rectangle, 2-point rectangle. Okay, and one thing that's really interesting is if I click in one of these lines, you can see it's blue, and I get in the middle, I get this sort of triangle which says I'm in the middle of this top line. And if I go down, I get this dotted line, and I go until I get to the other middle part. Okay, so let's say I want to start here. I click here in the middle, and then I create my rectangle. Okay, that's it, one rectangle and one circle. I click escape. Whenever I need to exit any of these tools, I just click escape, and now I have the